Hello and welcome to another day of the Reinventing the Cookbook, day 2. That is it, yeah. So welcome to the stream, everybody. I'm going to wait a couple minutes or so people come. This is very quick. Unfortunately, I couldn't plan ahead very easily. Today I've been quite busy. We're doing many other things. But hey, the stream is alive and going, which is always good news. So for people who have missed out, this week it is the Wheel Reinvention Jam. And the Wheel Reinvention Jam is a week where you're trying to change the status quo. And it's happening right now, and just so that we can see it on screen, here we go. It's a 1 week jam where you effectively, you want to look at fresh eye to do solved problems. So think about in the world at the moment where you have, let's say, wheels in the world. Like, people reinvent the world every day. There are hundreds of thousands of different wheels out there right now. So that phrase, the idiom of don't reinvent the wheel, is a really poor idiom. So yeah, not necessarily the best thing in the world, but that's things we're now going to try and change the status quo and get better. So different types of software, people trying different things out there. So if you want to join this jam for this week, I recommend please go on in here and see all the different things. There's many different latest updates here. I need to go up with one of mine soon. I'll do it for the end of this one here, but this is very cool to see. I'm going to see what people have done so far. So has Ben done this way? He's simulated a packet. Okay, that's pretty cool. I don't know what he's doing, but cool. What's this one here? Sure. Okay. I have no idea what half of this is yet, but it's pretty cool to see. Yeah. Okay. Fine with me. I'm just seeing what people are doing. What's Jake doing? Okay. Seeing what it is. I'm just having a quick look at what people are doing. It's quite nice that they have this now on the stream, obviously. Yeah. That's quite nice. And what's this? I'm just having a look at the stream, what other people are doing. I'm sorry. None of you can see what I'm seeing. I'm seeing this, so this is quite interesting. I'm a complete moron tonight, not really thinking it through. But yeah, I'm seeing all the cool stuff. So this is one thing that someone's doing, like a nice little image viewer. Pretty good, nice image organizer. There's this thing that Ben's doing with a nice little packet. Sorry if people are seeing this. Some text things here. There are some printf stuff. Okay. This thing here, a brief. It's his most successful bit of brief. I don't know what it is. Yet. I'll find out. And then this is a boring rep, it says. Okay, fine. This is pretty cool. There's probably some more to come, obviously. But I'm going to have to create my own here. So that's probably one thing I need to do is create my own project. And this is going to call the... what are we calling this? We're calling this Project Ambrosia, aren't we? Cookbook. In reverse. So I'm just going to create it for the time being. Just creating it. I haven't done it yet. That's okay, fine. So my voice is very relaxing. Thank you very much. It's just my voice. Right, so that's the thing. So we need to carry on back to the stream what we were doing from last time. So there's a few things we need to do. I need to open that folder where that contained there, because then I need to open the SQLite Studio. I don't want the command line form, but I wanted the non-command line form. Here we go. So we can show what we did last time. So the first time we got the... is this database loading? Refresh, please. Why is that not working? Database. It says it should be connected, but I can't do this query. There we go. Just go on data. Fine. Whatever. So you see it works and stuff. Okay, cool. Very cool. So just seeing what the chat was saying here. Yeah. So what I'm going to be working on today is make sure that people are Everything's fine. The stream should be fine. Great. Absolutely hunky-dory today. What we did yesterday, was we got many things in. We got a single recipe in there, by the way. And this is showing the ingredients with a normalized amount, the normalized unit, and the original unit. So there's the thing we're going to have to show is we're going to try and show people the stuff in the original unit. So in this case, tablespoons, teaspoons, in those cases. And that would be a 1 and, of course, 1 and a 1. Not in this case what their normalized units are, and also allow people to change their units. So we're just going to view a recipe today. That's going to be the goal. Just have so hopefully we can do this in 2 hours or less, I hope. It may not be the prettiest thing in the world, but it should work. So that's what we got. And we got the SQL data query to get all this data, which should be absolutely fine. In fact, we probably need some more data in there. For instance, that's what I don't get these tabs at times, because Modelom don't even work as you expect. Tab, 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 tab. 1, 2, 3, 4. It's fine. 4's whatever. I don't really care. So we need all other things in there. Just keep that for the time being. So for instance, u dot unit kind ID as normalized unit kind, like so. And then we can see the normalized unit kind here. And then we have the original unit name, so we have to go to unit ID. I'm just looking at, oops, stays there, we need a comma there. There we go. So we've got all of these different things in here. So we can always do a conversion from the original unit kind to everything else. There was one thing I realized was a type of unit I completely forgot about in the unit kind list because I didn't actually add it. It was 7 percentage. So we're going to save that percentage there. We go back to the unit kinds, and then we've got one more to add at the end. So that's 26 percentage, and that's number 7. Perfect. There we go. We don't need to worry about any more about that. I'm going to have a drink of water. And shall we start getting on with actually viewing the data? So this was the stuff we did. And we can now see the data here being generated from that code. But what we really want is not just that data. We actually want the windows. So we need to go back to main. We need to get rid of the initialize the database data, because that's not necessarily all we want. We can probably query this as we need it rather than if we need it, if it makes any sense. Yes, bakers need percentages for the recipes. That's correct. That's why I forgot to add it. So I haven't got a baking book on me. I should have brought one up to show example, but like Ken Forkish's Flour, Water, Salt, Yeast book is a very good example of this. There's a very good book if you want to learn how to do proper artisan bread. That's a very good book to start with. So yeah, there we go. And I hope that text is big enough for people. Should be big enough now. I'm guessing that's the right size. So initializing this database is fine. I think what I'm going to do with the selection, I'm going to have to write my own code, and rather than rely on the stuff in there. So if I get rid of the init database, hopefully we now got a window up here and we can see it. Now I've got originally the add so I'm having a check version as well as the running version. God, the check version's taken a while, but shouldn't do. I'm probably on one stream, that's half the reason. Viewing all the recipes. So we're going to get rid of this. And I've got a recipe window, but I don't need... Okay, it's fine. So we're going to do a recipe. Is the recipe window what we wanted, right? We got rid of the recipe... Okay, well, that, whatever. Now... Yeah, let's just do this. And this is going to be the recipe, whatever the recipe is. And I'm just going to make it a little bit closer to the side. And then we've got a layout of bay 100 there. So we need the ingredients. We need to split these up into different headers. So if UI.header, And then you've got options. What are these options? I can't even remember. Closed, pop-up. We don't want closed. Expanded is what we want. Yeah. Header, context, ingredients, expanded. Okay. So the ingredients, they're going to have these two different, like, they're going to have 3 rows to them, aren't they? So they're going to have the amount, they're going to have the unit, and then they're going to have, if there's a unit, obviously, and then the actual thing. So we need the amount, which is probably not going to be that wide. So let's say it's 50. The unit is another 50, and then everything else is there. And then we have the steps. Okay, for the time being. And then we also have the information. Okay. And then the information is just going to be whatever. So let's keep this a bit blank for the time being. Yeah. Let's see what this views. Is it a result set? What's in the result set? Okay, we can just do that, can't we? And then we're going to run it and build and see what it looks like. I don't think I've done this right with the headers. Nope, I haven't. But there's nothing in there, so test, test, test. Like that. That is lovely. Look at that. Yeah? Hello, welcome back. Hello, how you doing? Right, we got the stream going on. It's absolutely wonderful. So we got the thing in the format. It's not going to be the prettiest thing in the world for the time being, but we've got the information for our recipe. But we only need to get it once, obviously. So we need to get the recipe. Get recipe. And then the ID, which is actually an index in this case, so that's fine. And then we only need to get the recipe data. So the recipe, as we now know, has got a lot of information in it. But this is way too much information for what we actually require. So if we init the recipe at the beginning, just to begin with, yeah, let's do it here. Init recipe. Result code. Okay, so what we want to do is we had a query to get all the recipe data from. Hello, welcome. We want to get the recipe data from here, and then what we need to do is get all the information properly. So we can actually get this data, but I'm not going to use one of these selects. I'm going to have to create my own select because I think the one I've got is not so great. Create new view. And I'm going to select everything from recipe, where recipe.recipe ID, so it's got as R, so r.id equals 1. Okay? We're going to say view recipe. So this is the recipe. So we don't need all of it. So what we want are r.name, r.description, short description at least, as well as the long one. Okay. Okay, done. Review that, that's fine. What else was in a recipe that we've missed out? We've got portions, obviously. Because of course we don't want to miss out portions, and the author and the source. So we have r.author, but it's an author ID, so we need to be very careful there. Author name, if there is even an author, because if there isn't an author, we have to be. Ooh, how do we? So we may just leave that blank, shall we, for the time being? Actually, no, we can do r.author ID, r.source ID. And then in a separate query on Odin, we can just get the other data. So this is pretty easy. So this is just going to be the recipe information. Like that. When it says select array, what I'm going to do here is just going to be select single. I'm just going to go get single. And we just need to pass a type to, don't we, really? Like so. And then we don't need to add this builder, we just need to put the command in there. What was the do bind thing? Sorry, I know. Wait, what? Oh, that's if you want to put parameters in there, obviously. Duh. I forgot that makes no sense. The struct arg, and then args. We've got the struct argument, which is probably better. We don't need... Oh, no, I don't want that there. Wait. We don't have that. So we have the command and the arg. So the select here, we need to be very careful what we're doing with this, because we don't really need the struct. We need the struct fields there, obviously, but we just need to be careful in how we do it. So I'm just going to get... So that'd be the full command. Like so. Yeah. So now it's a lot simpler to get the data. And it might be a little bit too simple, to be honest with you, but hey-ho, we're going to find out. And I want to do this. So recipe information. So we've got the name, short description, long description, author ID. Now let's do index and then do source ID index. Fine. So we can get the recipe information. So let's call this the info. And then we're just going to do the big query in here. Like so. So this is select. Oh, no. Select, and then we're going to put the selections in here. We even have the query, don't we? So which is absolutely fine. And I think we can just do %1, can't we? So we've got the ID is going to be index of 1, like so. And we don't need that capital select, just do lowercase select. And I put an or return in there. And I'm going to print the info to see what gets printed. So struct fields. Yeah, we need to get that done. Wait. I got rid of them accidentally. Okay, so that's printed out all the stuff for me here. Wonderful news that really is, actually, to be honest with you. We then can also get the other information for us now. So this is going to be the author. So author. But the author name, as I just need to get a single thing. It doesn't need to be a struct necessarily. Just if it is a struct, that's great. If reflect type is struct, I think that'll work already. else it's just going to assume it's a no, we just need to do the same thing, but no kind of anything else special. Like so, right? I don't need the struct field parameter because it's not a struct field, but that's fine. That's going to be my code done. Let's see if that compiles. Type info of. Hopefully you can all guys see this absolutely clearly. Great, so we've got the data in there. Once we've got that in there, we can also get the author. So db get single, just a string in there. Select name from author, where author ID is equal to $1. And that's going to be info.author ID. And that's going to have an all return on it, obviously. And then that's going to have, that's going to be the source. Yeah. If that even exists, by the way. So if info.authorID doesn't equal 0, put that in there. If author ID, source ID doesn't equal 0, deal with that. Okay. Why is that not going to work? Oops, yeah, that's why. So it should now tell me Nigella Lawson how to be a domestic goddess. Wonderful. That is actually wonderful news. So we're now getting the actual information that we need. This kind of stuff is kind of useless to us. We don't need to do the big nonsense anymore. We do probably want to keep the unit, but not the recipe bit. So if I get a recipe, we need the name of the recipe, short description, long description, author, if there is one, source ID, source. We also need the other information now for this as well. So we know what the ID is. That's absolutely fine. Recipe ID. Okay, so this is starting to build up lovely, actually. Recipe. Global recipe. Like so. And then we can start adding that data to it, can we not? So global recipe. So this is going to be the name is the info.name. Short description. Long description. Dot author. Yep. And then it's going to be dot source. Yep. So that's the first bit of the recipe. The next bit of the recipe that we're going to have to require, obviously, are each of the ingredients. So we have to be very kind of careful with this. So we have to have a recipe ingredient list. Recipe ingredient. So we looked at our original query for listing the ingredients. We had different things in here. So we had the name of it. We had the normalized amount. We had normalized unit. Now the normalized units, we've kind of got into here. Unit conversion. And this is going to be similar to this, isn't it, really, at the end of the day? So we've got to do it very carefully. So we need to just do an offset and a scale in there, obviously. Oh god, more spam, really? Done. We're just getting bombarded by spam, aren't we? It's awful. So one of the issues with pulling the author details is they may not exist. That is a nullable thing. Now, you may be right. We could just do it in one query. I just can't remember how to do it with SQL. What if it's null and give it a default value of empty? Unless you know how to do that. I can't remember. Is it like a... Unless you guys do remember, because I honestly don't. I'm trying to get my analytics to the side. There we go. Hopefully. If anyone's got any questions, please feel free to ask. Really, please free. I'm just trying to think the unit conversion. Unit conversion map. I need to go from one unit to another unit. So that's going to be technically an array of or a struct from to unit, not unit kind. It's going to be unit, isn't it? Let's put an index in there. And then what we need to do is the unit conversion. Okay, so we probably need to go through all the units and initialize them. Yeah, so we've got the units. So we've got all the units now, which is lovely. We need to get the unit conversion amount. Let's call that version row. And they've got all the different parameters in here. So that's the ID. From unit ID. Scale offset, scale factor, offset factor, like so. Yeah, there's many things I could just do in Odin, you're right, but I'm just not bothering for the moment. From unit conversion, like so. Now, rows, I'm just going to go through that unit version row in that. The unit conversion table, unit conversion map or whatever, that's going to be the from unit to the to unit, and then that gives me the scale factor. So that's going to be the UCR.scale unit conversion is scale, yeah. And offset, yeah. So maybe something like, why am I bothering with this right now? But it's fine. So then what you need to do the opposite is you need to figure out the actual conversion units. And I can never remember. I need to do the algebra right now. Wait. AX plus B equals, let's say that's Y. So then the other one is going to be X is equal to 1 over A minus B over A. Okay. To from, it's going to be 1 over that number. And what? Not that over that negative that over UCR dot scale. If UCR dot scale equals 0, just continue. That's fine. And then what we can also do on this is for every single unit in the units, we've got an ID now, and then that unit conversion is pretty simple. So it's unit.id is just going to be scale 1 but 0 offset. Absolutely fine. So that's kind of how the unit conversion table gets set up. Yeah, how do you keep your motivation going these days? What's motivation? It's called insanity, I'm guessing. That's really the best way of explaining it. Yeah. And probably just hard stubbornness, I'm guessing, because reasons. Oh, I forgot to completely advertise this stream on Twitter. See, my motivation is when it happens is you get distracted and you're not doing everything. Day 2 of the... Tweet. There we go. Done. Sounds to make sense. Yeah, it probably does. Okay, so that's that. We're done there. The recipe's already in there. Now we need to get the units. We got the units. We want to list the ingredients then. So we have recipe ingredient, normalized amount. We have the normalized unit. That's going to be technically an index. And we want to do with the units as well. Unit map index. We'll go from the unit index to the name of the thing, obviously. Name map. So we can do that. Unit.id equals unit.name. Like so, no problem. And we could also kinds. So we can have a unit kind in there plus a dynamic array. Or not necessarily dynamic array, but the unit, let's call the index in there. So that's the unit index. Because then we can just do the mapping afterwards, can't we? So one thing we can do here is the unit kinds and then plus the index. So we could just cheat every single time, by the way, with this. So it's probably not a bad idea to just cheat. For kind in unit kind, we're just going to make this query. So unit kinds equals index. So I need to just, no, I need to do the get single. Let's get the array now, actually. Might be a better way of doing it. Get array if ease of that, then what we need is the elements. Because how do I do the select array? So rows. Oh, I can hear the rain going like mad tonight. It's lovely to get rain finally, actually. But that's a different thing entirely. Row. Append rows row. 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 Append row. Row. Row your boat gently down the stream. Merrily, 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 life is but a dream. Select unit ID from unit where unit kind ID equals $1, which is just kind. Like so. Hopefully that doesn't fail. Oh, it's meant to be an index. Misuse. Oh, what fuck, why did that happen? DB28. I think I'm guessing, so that's actually a 36. Simple statement, it's failing, which means either no such table from unit. There is a table. No, there isn't. Unit conversion's got an S in it. So everything else has got set up now. So all the unit kinds got set up as well. Oh, loads of people are chatting in there, yeah. Yeah, and the rain's been nice. Even though it's been humid, it's just always not great for your head if you've got a bit of a headache. I hate humidity headaches. They're never the nicest thing in the world, to be honest with you. I wonder if I can... Yeah, just turn on the dehumidifier. That's kind of nice to have. Yeah, there we go. Wonderful. Sorry, just checking the dehumidifier was working then, because it's really humid in this room and my head's buzzing already. Hello everybody. Wonderful, wonderful to see you all. So we've got a recipe. Okay, so now we need to get the ingredients. So, as we said from our thing here, we had an ingredient. We had normalized amount, the normalized unit, the original unit as well, plus a description, which is a string. Yeah? Yeah, humidity, I get them all the time. It's just, well, it's been dry weather and they're hot and dry and it's not a problem. But as soon as the humidity came, it's like, oh, God, ow, headaches. Even though I drink a lot, I make sure I have enough salt. No problem. It's just the change, if you know what I mean. So we have the ingredients in this. And in fact, I think ingredients is absolutely fine for this. So what I'm going to do is grecipe.ingredients is equal db get array of those ingredients. And then I'm going to have to put a new line kind of thing on here. Oops, daisy. Jiggity pokery. And then I need to put the recipe ID in there. So I'm going to, so in this thing, as I say here, select, and I'm going to select, we're going to select the name. Actually, what is in our query here? Ingredient name. Normalized amount. They're the things that we want for the time being, and they're going to be the as amounts, but just ignore that for the time being. So from recipe ingredient as RI, join ingredient as I on RI ingredient equals I dot ingredient name. Then we're going to do another join here, normalized unit. That gives me the normalized unit kind. That's absolutely fine with me for that. The unit there is also going to give me the unit ID. For the original unit at least. It doesn't really matter because I'm probably not going to use that particular thing. Okay, so where recipe ID equals (1), order by r.id recipe ingredient ascending. Yeah? So we need, first off is the I name as name. The normalized amount is RI normalized amount as that. The normalized unit is going to be the new unit ID. Normalized unit is under the... Oh god, where is this table? Join normalized unit, and it's unit normalized unit ID. So unit ID as that, as the normalized unit. The original unit is from unit... Oh no. I don't need to do that line, do I? And then I.description as that as well. And those as-is can be aligned. Let's see where that goes. A mismatch of one. Yeah, it's because I forgot to do the all return. From, as an extra comma there, I don't need that. No such column I.description. Is there not? RI.description, apparently. No such column RI recipe ingredient. Is there not? Yeah, there should be. ID, sorry, there we go. There we go. So now we've got all of the data in this thing here. And just to make it a little bit better with the pretty printing, so we can then see everything in here, and we've got all of the data now. None of the steps yet, but that's absolutely fine. We have got the steps, and we're just keeping it dumb. So a step is just going to be effectively a description for the time being, so there's nothing wrong there. Steps string, like so. And then G recipe steps is going to db get array of a string. Do the same thing here. Select name. Oh no, description from recipe step where recipe ID equals question mark, which is just going to be again recipe ID, order by recipe step, order by step index ascending, and that works wonderfully already. Now we can actually, I am right in the UK, yes, correct, yeah. Yeah, with regards to burnout, I've never actually had it myself. But I think that's probably because I do quite many different things. So I just trying to get my brain different doing things. So that kind of helps. Burnout's when you're just doing a lot of the same thing from what I've seen people do and focusing on too much. You need a break. What I recommend, I do loads of walking, but I've got a dog, so it's helpful. So I'm just going to change the camera for this time being. Walk. Go for 3 or 4 walks a day. I'm not even joking about that. Have a break. Do something different during your day. Even if you've got work all day, you can have a break every so often for like a minute or two. And I mean a minute or two is all you need, just to do something different to clear your head. And it always helps. Just keep yourself preoccupied. Try and read many different things as well. Like reading is helpful, but read different things, not just different topics. On different topics, obviously. Just be healthy. Most people know how not to get burnout. This is the thing; it's quite intuitive. Have a healthy lifestyle. Think about what would you be as a healthy person? Okay, do that. Usually problem solved. And take it seriously. Treat yourself well. I'm not even joking. Treat yourself effectively like some other member of your family. You'll do well after that. Don't just treat yourself poorly. That's why you get burnout. You just forget treating yourself well. You are a person after all. So sorry, I'll get back to that. Let's go to this. We've got all the steps working wonderfully. Now we have the recipe. We can actually start doing the Windows stuff because we've got all the recipe data that we needed. That's how simple it was. This I will probably turn into. This is initialized init database. I'm going to set that to that. And I already had an init database, but this is initializing the database. Yeah. Recipe ID is index. Database recipe ID equals 1. Return nil. Good. Let's go to the Windows now. We've got the recipe. We've got the information in here. We've got two different things. So we have grecipe, that's the name, short description, long description. And then we only need to show this if it doesn't even eat blank. Yeah, so now it's showing American breakfast pancakes, the name, author, source, and in fact we could probably have this to be two different things. So we need about, I don't know, 100 and then -1. So this is going to be the name, and in fact, let's say this is the recipe. That's the author. That's the source. Short description. I'm going to put long description in there. I'm going to hide the long description for the time being because we don't need it. That looks worked out well already. We then get the ingredients in here. So the ingredients have kind of 3 different things to them. We're going to do the normalized units to begin with, and then we're going to do the conversion to the original units to show you that actually this is where things go along. Yeah. So that's one thing here. So we need to go for every ingredient in grecipe ingredients, like so. Yeah. So by the way, many people say, what about the memory management? I may be asking. Yeah, that's just going to be an arena. I'm having 2 different arenas. I'm going to have the permanent arena and then the recipe arena. This is how you solve the problem. I haven't done that yet, but I will do. You got the ingredients. So then what we have to do is the amount, normalized amount. So it's just to UI label, but the label is just going to have to be, unfortunately, I'm going to have to do this. Tprintf it from tprintf, and it's going to be a %f, so 0f, no, 01f to the time being. Oh bugger, what am I doing there? Wrong steps. And that's going to be the ingredient normalized amount. Normalized unit, but if I remember correctly, so because I only just wrote it, it's an index. So I need to map it to the correct name. So that needs to be unit name map, like so. And then we need the ingredients name. So now we got the actual things in there. And things are working out pretty well. I don't think we need to do the %f on there. We can just do %0. So it's actually working quite well here. We can change also the layout of each of these. So each of these have got an option to them. And we want to kind of get this to be a line right. Because you want the numbers to be there next to each other. Look at that. That looks pretty good if you ask me. If you don't ask me, I mean you ask me. Just do 20 because I don't think these units are going to be long. Yeah, that's pretty nice. So they're in the normalized unit count. So if we want to do it into the correct amount, original unit, and then we need to do the conversion map, if that's even possible. It should be. So we need to go from the normalized unit to the conversion unit. Ingredient normalized unit to ingredient. In fact, ingredient's too fucking long to type. Sorry. Let's call that ing. Ing. There we go. To the original unit. Let's call that the conversion factor. And then the amount is going to be the scale times the normalized unit amount plus the offset. Yeah? Which is good to know. So that's that amount. And then original unit. Yeah. And look, it's got it correct, but they're still not very large, so I should have gone with 50. Yeah, there we go, guys. Zero pinch. I don't think that's done correctly, is it? But we need to know what the type of unit kind it is as well, because we probably don't need a conversion. Okay. Seriously, it might not need the conversion. If unit kind is any of these, so between mass and length, yeah, let's do that. Wonderful. Guys, look at what we've done already. We've already got the unit conversions working. Great. So then we're going to do steps. They're going to be, let's say that's 20 and that's -1. For step I in recipe steps, we're going to do the label here, don't we? So I plus 1. And in fact, it could just be a dot after there as well, or a question thing like that. And then step. Okay, these steps need to be going to multiple lines, but they work. They work. Yeah, they do, which is good to know. The labels aren't really... I have got such a dumb UI sitting because it's... can I do that with text instead? Yeah, that's much better with the text rather than the label. And I think most of these can be set to be text. Look at that. Guys, we have a recipe done. This already is actually working. And I'm just going to take a picture of this because I'm pretty damn happy with this. And I'm just going to switch between the different unit systems. So I'm going to do ship it. No. We want to convert the units. So I need to have a different way of selecting the units. Because sometimes people have preferred units, don't they, for different things. But yeah, this looks pretty good already, doesn't it? And this is already the recipe generation But I'm going to take a picture of this. Seriously, this is pretty damn cool. I'll just take a shortcut of this. Just literally, not shortcut, a snipping tool. Let's add this to the Twitter. Done. Okay, so hopefully people now understand what this prototype is doing so far, because it pretty much is boring. But you can see what the conversion factor thing is. This is the forward recipe search. That's the point of it, if that makes any sense. You are doing a forward cookbook. This is just dumb, but now we've got the concurrency, the conversion units in there. Like those noises, can you hear? That is kind of what you want, because this is where it gets quite interesting afterwards. Okay? Yeah, we need a figure out. I need a drop-down menu, really, but I don't have a drop-down menu. Yeah, I don't have a drop-down menu in Micro UI. Does anyone have one? Oh god, this is where I'm. Yeah, I don't think there is one that I can just nick. So shall we just have to make our own little drop-down menu or something? Yes, those explosions do require Imogen. Yeah, I'm not going to do the joke. Let's not go there. So we could do preferred units, preferred mass units, and preferred volume units. And I think tablespoons and teaspoons are absolutely fine. So we're going to have edge cases in here, by the way. So what I mean by that is... because that is the original unit, yeah? Yeah, the recipe and the name in the title box is probably not a bad idea. But at the same time, I'm just checking to see how this works. Getting the ID from the title box is not necessarily the best thing. So title... I'm going to do the old, not the old trick, but the trick where in strings, yeah, strings, index, title, and I'm just looking for a dash in here. Get ID, string, what is it in there? What does it return? An ID. We only go on to hash it after those two things. So we want to go, the ID is that, plus 2 after that. Yeah? So this may seem like, why am I putting a double hash in there? Well, the whole point of that is then when I generate the title, it only cares about this. So it's going to say recipe, and I'm just going to do double hash for the recipe. And then I can actually put printf in there for the recipe name, can't I? So that's just going to be the G recipe name, like so. And then we can get this out. It still says %%, but that's fine. What do I just do with this? Okay, so yeah, the title. Then we can say title is equal to up to I. That's fine. Yeah, American breakfast pancakes. Nigella Lawson. Absolutely hunky-dory. So the idea, I think, is we probably want to convert any of these as we go, so you can change the unit when you need it. Because at the moment, we could say what your we could always have default preferences, but not necessarily as you need it. So the information, the ingredients, the steps. So as I say for me, most of the time I don't need the information, and I don't need the steps. I just want these ingredients. But I also want these ingredients to be in very useful terminology as well. So, by the way, this is a hell of a lot more advanced than we did last year when I only had a day and then I got ill. But this is so much better. But you can see I've already got this planned out in my head. I know pretty much what I want to do. And then the forward cookbook's fine. Now we've got to deal with the UI crap. UI. Yay! Because everything is just bad. But reasons to be cheerful. 1, 2, 3. So if we can then select the units for those IDs, then that's going to be fine. Yeah, we could probably do the unit in there. You can spell you and I without you and I, obviously, yeah. Let's not go. I was going to do some bleeming... Oh, God, let's not do those jokes. Enduring jokes. Yeah, I'm not a blockhead tonight, don't worry about that. Well, I am a bit insane, but let's not go there. Let's not also do the other jokes, other songs by Enduring the Blockheads, because we might get demonetized if I do that. Yes. Not always the best idea in the world, now is it? But it's always good fun. This is always good fun. So now we need to figure out drop-down menus, because we need to figure out how I actually implement one. And I don't want to spend an hour on just a drop-down, because they're not easy. No. But effectively, I want to click on it. It then tells me which unit do you want to use. So it may actually just have a... You click on that button, it pops up a window. Select the unit from this window. Oh, you've met the blockhead. Wow, that's impressive. That is impressive. Yeah, I'm expanding micro UI as I go along. Yes, that's kind of the point. It's only for my own purposes, obviously, adding my own widgets, but that's kind of the point. It's the whole point of micro UI. It's a foundation to start with. You just copy and paste everything and then modify it as you need. That's kind of the point of it. It's not meant to be... It's a jumping off point. It's not a end point. It's not like Dear Imgo, which has everything in there. But look at this. It says, okay, well, now I know how to make American breakfast pancakes. Thank you, Nigella, because everybody loves Nigella. Okay, let's see if anyone gets that joke. Oh, God, I'm really bad with the jokes tonight. They're really bad. Okay, so in a bowl, make a well in the flour, baking powder, baking powder, salt and sugar. Beat in the eggs, melted butter, and milk, and transfer to a jug. Leave for 20 minutes before using it. Add more milk. Add more milk to the mixture if you're frying. You don't have to use it if you're using a Bellini pan, so that it runs to the edges. When you cook the pancakes, all you need to remember is when the upper side of the pancake is blistering and bubbling, it's time to cook the second side, and this needs only about 1 minute, if that. So we have 3 steps for these pancakes. We have a description, short description there. How to be a domestic goddess. Oh. I could be a domestic goddess, right? Right? So I'm just checking all the there. Yes, the microwave. That's not as funny as I was doing the kind of. If you could hear that the snuffing. Oh, I can't do those jokes. It's probably demonetized. Not demonetized. It's just inappropriate. That's not for bad jokes about Nigella. But yeah, I thought this was a decent one. This is a very good little thing on here. So, okay, here we go. And yes, get the caster sugar and sorry, it's the baking powder. That is. Going to get demon. I don't think I will. Probably, hopefully. I've not said anything, and it's one of those type of jokes. Okay, so we've got that. Emojis for the common ingredients. Oh no, my font doesn't even support most characters, let alone emojis. And the font is just baked in. That's the font, by the way, guys. This is the font. Oh, it's that fancy. It's embedded directly in the code. Yeah. It's just a bitmap font. What else do I need to do? Oh yeah, it was the different unit conversions. So we need to click on a unit, make it a button effectively. Can we push IDs? Is the question. I can't remember if we can. Yeah, we can push IDs and then pop the ID. Button. We've got the label. What icons do we have? I forgot. Close, check, collapse, expand, resize. Yeah, that's fine. I don't need any of them. Button. So these are going to be the units. Yeah, and it's the same with the ID. The hash thing. Get ID from title. And then we have title, string, ID, like so. Trimmed title. Well, that's fine for the time being, I'm going to say. But then the get ID in general, get the ID string. I'm not going to just do that. I'm going to say if strings index of that string has the hash in there, we're going to only care about the stuff after the hash. So, yeah, so then we're only going to care about the stuff after the hash, which means it's I plus 2, like so. That's absolutely fine, and that'll apply to everything else when we need it. Oh yeah, context. In fact, technically we could do this, but it's going to complain at me because I'm redefining title. Yeah. But I'll do that, that's absolutely fine. Okay, that is fine. So then we can go back to the windows, and every single unit name is going to have a button on it. Yeah, and I'm just going to do tprintf. And then that's going to be the unit. Oh no, this is going to be the ingredient unit %d, whatever that is. Let's do I in there, shall we? They all should be buttons now. And look, it says the wrong thing. It does say the wrong thing. So we need to correct the label. Yeah, for the time being we do. Trim to whatever. Okay. Now each of these are a button, but they're not exactly what I was wanting. So they need to be a line left. Okay. Oh no. Nil for that. Wait, what? Button options. Oh, it's not them, so it just needs to be whatever the default. So these are buttons, but these aren't real buttons. These are kind of like, whatever we're going to call these, the unit buttons. So if we click that, it's going to tell us the bish bash bong. That's what you wanted, right? And then we're going to just go if. In fact, we didn't technically need to do that, did we? But we now did it anyway, so it doesn't make a difference. So we need to open up the window. Ingredient unit. In fact, we can do this as a static, can't we? So it's not really an issue. Static ingredient unit. Ingredient active unit index. Okay. And then when we press it, that's going to be I plus 1, because the default was going to be 0, obviously. And then if that's the case, we've now got another window. Doesn't equal 0. List of units. No, this is the ingredient unit selector for the time being. So if we do that, and then we just need to do a UI button close. I don't even remember icons. Yeah, it is close. If that is the case, then that equals 0. And in fact, that's not what we want. We want .submit in the button. Like that. It does open it. In fact, this maybe just need to be a maybe. So then we don't have to worry about the other stuff. Come to think about it. Ping bash. It worked for that one. Options. What other options are there? Let's say no close. Why does that not work? But that one does. Is it because... Oh, I know it doesn't work. It's because when I've done this thing here, I haven't really UI push ID. Let's just say this is the name of the ingredient, I'm guessing. So clish, bash, bosh, bosh, doop. So these are going to be the units of that kind, obviously. Not that bit. Let's get rid of that. And then we've got the unit of the ingredients, don't we? So, let's say this is the index. And we know it's absolutely fine. In fact, we could just call it index. Okay. So we don't have to do a double check. Magic, isn't it? Once we've then selected it, we need to go through all of the things. So we need to find out the unit. So that's g-ingredients. No, g-recipe.ingredients. And then index. So this ingredient. In fact, it can just be reference, it's no problem. So ing. We want the... Oh, shit. This is where it gets a little bit more complicated. What does our database tell us? Units start from 0, obviously. But they need to be probably maybes. So this is ingredient unit kind. And a unit, custom unit, index. And that's going to be a map to an index to an index. No, it's going to be int to an index, to a maybe of an index, obviously, because we want to know if it's in there or not. And then we need to select a button of each of them, obviously, which is going to be annoying. So for unit unit kinds. We don't need to go all the way through the unit kinds, though, do we? Like that. Okay, perfect. Yeah, original unit. There's a kind. So for each kind units in unit kind. Wait. Unit kinds. UI dot button context. It's going to be units. Unit name map. Yeah, I know that's not being used yet. So if I click on that, nothing pops up. Is this even being found? What am I doing? Windows. Sorry, I'm getting all discombobulated here. All the technical terms are going on tonight. And this is going to just keep spamming my thing. Look at that spam. Stop. So we've got a mass. We've got ingredient recipe. Yeah. And then we get a mass unit for the one we just clicked. That was absolutely what we wanted. In fact, that could just be... ping pang bong, like so. So we have a mass unit. Unit kinds. Why is that not being found? Yeah, it is. Oh, sorry, I should have clicked the button then. Whoops. Bing, they're all empty. Why? Haven't I meant to be setting these up? Look, these are all... well, they should be. Unless it's not being set up when I do the bind. Yeah, I don't do the bind, do I? Bad parameter use. Unhandled type. Yeah, and I'll just do the full type, so arg.id. I'll do the exact same thing for enums. But why is that misuse bad parameter or other API misuse on number 36 of DB? Which is not that useful. I clearly know which one it is. It's not in the bind per se, but it's going to be in one of these. Give me the unit ID. Is it really the unit ID I want? From here. Order by unit ID to ascending. Why is that not working? Do I need to be really explicit? No. What have I done wrong there? So I'm gonna figure this out. Okay? Because I have no idea. Because that is not a good enough of an error message for me. Let's try a new view. Create a new view. Let's try that be 1. Yeah? Yeah, that's fine. I don't care about a blank name. It gives me all the IDs. Right? Give me 0. There's nothing in there. What's gone wrong with this thing, that query that I just wrote? And it is this one, obviously. Misuse bad parameter or other API misuse. Huh? Anyone got an idea? So it does it fine if I do that. But I thought everything I was doing was this question mark 1. Unless I've done something wrong with the binding, but I don't think I have. I don't think so. Like, that's why I'm like, this should work, right? This should actually work. That I know won't do anything. But like, why is it bad parameter or other API misuse? We could just do the absolutely dodgy thing. And I mean really dodgy. But it'll work. And no, it will fucking work. Look, all of the different units. I don't know why. Okay. What was I looking for? Windows. Oh yeah, because I had that stupid thing there. So if we click on grams, we can now see all the different units that we could actually have. And we could just probably change them as we add them. So if that, and we have a unit, we can then probably just close it as well. This doesn't need to be necessarily be closed, but that does need to be... yeah, we could just have close button there. Can we just write close next to it as well? No. Submit in that button. It says close on it, which is not very useful. Close selector. So if we get the gram, we can then choose whichever one we want here, can't we? Okay. So if we then go to this, we have the index, and then we can now specify the new unit in there. Yeah. And then we can just do this to close it. So as soon as we've selected one, we're closing it. Okay, perfect. So we have the normalized unit amount. Great. Great. Nice. Yes. We're going to just do the correct conversion factor here. So we have the original unit name. So we have the unit ing.original unit, and we can do that. But if we then do okay, so we're going to do that. We're going to just do, what is it called? Custom unit. Okay. We're in the index, and I'm just doing a question mark in there. Okay. That custom unit is going to be the unit. Yeah? So we don't want grams. I want that in ounces. I don't want that in tablespoons. We want it in there's nothing in there. So if it's... But that's the thing, is if it's a... something beyond a pinch. So if it's an item... So we don't want to do it as a button. So if... Do we have the unit kind? Unit... unit kind... Yeah. If unit kind is effectively, what is it? What am I looking for? Recipe shit. I'm not even getting the right next thing. I need to put them next to each other pretty much. If it's a unknown, if it's not one of these, ignore them effectively. Switch unit kind. Yeah. Case, and then the rest, like unknown and percentage. Case, unknown, item, percentage. It can't be a button. It has to be a label, right? If that makes sense. Okay, so not everything has to have it. So if we click on there to go to ounces, we go to kilograms, it doesn't work. We got to pounds. We got... Yeah, that all actually works quite well. It doesn't render correctly. Like, oh, what's that in milliliters? Oh, that's fine. What's that in fluid ounces? 1 fluid ounce. Is it really 1 fluid ounce? Because I thought that was a tablespoon. Unless it's rounding up, which is it shouldn't. Which is where the unit thing should be fine. So we say that's milliliters. And in fact, for certain things, we know the density of it, so we want to change to grams. So that's absolutely fine, in my opinion. Teaspoon. Oh, well, that's a teaspoon. What about in tablespoons? Oh, there, 1 tablespoon. What about this is a teaspoon? Perfect. What about this? Oh, I can't even click that one. Why does that not one work? That one doesn't work. But that one does. Oh, they've got the same selector for some reason. Ooh, that's not good sound. Ingredient name. Oh yeah, because they've got the same ingredient name. Push I. For you, int pointer. Fine by me now. Now they're working. So that's going to be kilograms. Now, I want that in ounces, really. That's an ounce. That should be half an ounce, but isn't showing it you correctly. So, if amount is less than 1, we change the formatting. And then we do that. In fact, this may be a very... People are going to hate me for what I'm about to do. If the amount is less than 1, do this. So, case, do that. If it's less than 0.1, do that. If it's less than 0.01, do that. And anything else, it shouldn't matter. So then if I do kilograms, it's now done that. But it shouldn't... no, let's just do that. Yeah? Let's just do 1. In fact, can we just do %F? No. Whatever. This is going to look fine, right? This is just me showing off the different ounces, pounds. The rounding different things here are different, obviously. So we have to get the rounding stuff going on. And that's going to be a half, effectively. So the rounding... We need a rounder. Is effectively what we need. So this is kind of nice. I'm going to make a little animation of this now. So people can see what I'm doing. Screen recording, go. There we go. This is looking nice. Look at it. Look at it. Really nice. It's nice, that is. That's the word, nice. Yeah. So how do people enjoying this so far? I've actually achieved what I wanted tonight, and I did it in less than 2 hours. I'm so actually well happy with that. It's not fucking great because the next thing here is the text rendering's not good, but it's already better than most fucking websites out there. Like, I don't know how to convert this to what I want. Now the thing is, not every single thing on there is going to have useful things, because actually we've got milliliters and grams. I also want to have, if it's volumetric, on there as well, because if it has a if the ingredient itself has a density to it, that's very, very useful. So for instance, we have density on the ingredients, obviously, but we don't have it on the here. So if I put density like so, ingredient density as density. Now it has it. So if it's a mass or a volume unit, but the ingredient itself is, say, one or the other. Oh wait, it doesn't matter. The ingredient doesn't really have an idea of it. It just has a density. So we can actually change the unit system. So, this is going to be annoying. Index is going to be an index, and then we have also density. No, we don't need to worry about the density, do we? Because it might not be of the same kind. It's the normalized unit, so that's going to be like that. Do you think you'll add calorie fat? No, this is not something I care about at the time being. I really don't care about most of that in terms of stuff, but it's something you could add in the future, obviously. There's no reason why. It's a database problem. You just add more things to the database. Each ingredient then gets calorific and the nutritional data. So it should work off pretty good. Okay. Yeah, the proper database design. Yeah, it's like, yeah, understanding how databases work and laying them out correctly is usually half the problem. It really is. And I've planned. I've had a year to do this nearly. Just a year. But I've not really done much in that time. But I've got more done in these 2 days than I ever did. I could ever do last year. So I'm really, really happy with that. So for instance, I'm getting the ingredients. Like that. If it has a density to it, and it's also a if kind equals mass or kind equals density, equals volume, yeah. But if it's one or the other, by the way, no, if ing density doesn't equal 0, is the best way. Let's just say it's greater than 0. You can either have a negative density. Yeah. We can then do the same thing here, can't we? We can just flip-flop on the other one. So this is going to be volume. And that one's going to be mass. And in fact, yeah, that's going to be fine. And what we can do here is we can have a 2-column thing. So UI layout. Let's say that's 50. Yeah. And then that close selector thing could be right at the top. Yeah. Which makes sense. Volume. We'll say the flip other kind equals kind dot mass. This is going to be a partial. I think that's what I want. Volume volume dot mass. So then I can just do kind like so. Did you mean layout? Layout row. Kind. Unit kind? Okay, so then we've got these different ones on the side here. So we could always change it. It's going to, like, ounces, pounds, liters, milliliters. Okay, so that isn't actually laying it out as I'd expect. Surprisingly. So this would be you. Oh, no, it needs to be, these are columns, aren't they? So is there a layout column? Windows. Like that. Yeah, each one has a different column to it now. And we can do the density stuff, because then what we do need to do, if, if custom kind, so this is going to be Yeah, like that. If they don't equal each other, if the original unit kind equals mass, and then the other one, I'm going to do assert because of kind equals volume, then what we're going to do is the amount is equal to the ingredient density. I'm also going to assert the ingredient density is greater than 0. So many assertions here. So the density is mass, so we need to divide to get the volume. Else, if volume mass times by it, and then we've got all of this in here. So, for instance, baking powder is not exactly that, but we do have it in grams. But we can have it in milliliters. It's not exactly the same, by the way. Look at that. Yeah? And I think what I'm going to do is put the kind in there, to be honest with you, and just... Yeah, so mass and volume. Motors is more volume than mass, which is absolutely fine. Molecular astronomers want all ingredients listed in molar mass. Of course they do, of course. But yeah, this is actually starting to work out pretty damn well. I'm actually pretty happy with this. So we're going to do a video of this again, just so I've got it for my records, and then we're going to commit it as well. Make it commit. Because I'm going to stop the stream in about 15 minutes. I apologise for last night's stream, for my internet just cut off. Couldn't really do anything about that. Yep, just a big of the bops, I'm guessing. Yeah, there's a bug there. The bug is, it said cups wasn't correct. Because it isn't correct. You go to cups and it says this is 381. No, it's not. So if we go back to grams, a cup, that should be got the right density. So if we go to ounce, it shows you in milliliters, that is correct. But then it shows me a cup is in milliliters, which means the cup measurement is wrong. So unit conversion, data. What is actually the unit cup? Cup is number 14. From 14 to 6, that's wrong. We need that number divided by 1, and I need that quite accurately, to be honest with you. No. I need to go from cups. No, that is correct. That is actually correct, sorry. So why has that got the wrong conversion then? Yes, of course it is. Because I've got the original unit, normalized unit, wrong. So the normalized unit is, if it's going to be mass, it is now whatever milliliters is. Unit kind index, like so. I want to get the normalized units in here. db get array, it's an index, effectively. Effectively it is, but how do I get that in there? First off, assert the len of that equals the len of the unit kind. It's fine. And if that's the case, what I can do is the raw data. No, I can just do this. People are going to go, what the hell are you doing here? This is a complete utter hack. Yes, yes it is. Select unit ID from unit conversion? Take which one is it? Unit conversion. No. Normalized unit. Normalized unit. Order by unit kind ID. Yeah, so then we need to get the normalized unit map. So this now needs to be a volume. Okay, I've got an assertion somewhere. Is this not correct? Oh, is it not? They say 6 and that says 8. Well, that's because it isn't all in there for some reason. Data. Yeah, we need to add some more tables in there for the hell of it. So 6. So 6, 7, 7, 8. Unit kind. Yeah, that's fine. Unit IDs. So what am I looking for? So for that normal unit kind, so we have 0 for that one and 26 for the other one. Oh no, we have 7 and 8. We don't have an 8, do we? No. Yes. But what we do have here is a 20... God, what was it? 26. 26. And then add that. Then for some reason it's saying the unit kind there's a 0, but there isn't a 0. Because we've got unknown in there, haven't we? Okay, that's fine. No, actually, I think the better option to this is for I just index I in this I plus 1 auto cast effectively the index. Yeah, now it works, and it should give me cups correctly. 1.6 cups. Oh my. That actually worked. Fucking wonderful now. So we're now, sorry my swearing. Yes, that works. Right, I'm now, so I was keeping quiet because I was trying to record. Not best thing in the world. Current... Oh, what? Progress of day 2 of the jam. We now have a forward cookbook with decent unit conversion done, with the ability to convert between mass and volume metric units. Tweet that. I'm really happy with this. Really serious, guys. This is already pretty good. I'm just going to add this to here, making sure I've got everything's going to be committed. Yes, so that's fine with me. Ability to convert units of a recipe easily and between mass and volumetric if possible. Okay, that is wonderful. So Godiba, thank you very much for tuning in anyway. Thank you very much. So I'm going to call this a night for a minute or so. But this has been really, really productive so far. So this is unit kind. We don't need to do the autocast though. We know exactly what we want. Because there's no... This is a bit of a hack. A bit. But yeah. I might just add a 0 in there for unknown. Save. And then I don't need to do the +1 trick anymore. I just need to do that. I don't know why that cert's still there, but it is. Yeah, that wasn't correct. So it is a +1 in there. I was right with that. But that looks... This is actually pretty good. So now I need to figure out an algorithm to do all of the estimates. Because when you're doing fractions, like if you go into kilograms, like, okay. This is the point, is if you can write it as an integer, write it as an integer. If you can't write it as an integer, you effectively need to do fractions. So you round up to the closest fractions. And I think... you need to do a... I'm trying to think of a good way of putting this. I don't know how to do this at the moment. Yeah, so there's a few things we need to do in terms of this kind of thing. So the question is, for plan for next time, what do we do? I already have some ideas, but I want to keep it simple. Just keep this single recipe. We probably need to do scaling next. So forward cookbook, this would already be very more useful than it currently is already, by the way. We probably need a way of inputting new recipes, because at the moment I'm not doing that in the database by hand. I'd rather just have a recipe inputter. Way to view multiple recipes. This is clearly a rabbit hole of a project, if you didn't guess, but it's a pretty interesting one. I'm pretty happy with that, to be honest with you. So has anyone got any questions so far before we go to bed? Because I need some sleep. Yeah, and I'll probably try and plan for a better time tomorrow, rather than just off the cuff. Okay. This is pretty good so far. Clearly the UI is dodgy as hell, but like it just has unit select on the side there. It doesn't really tell me anything else. Like, okay, it doesn't even tell me which one is the current one and give me a different color. Or does it put these into a different things? Like after 4, we should probably do a multiple columns, which is probably fine. Yeah, so I think for volumetric, we need to give it different layout, don't we? When we're doing the windows. Yes, so we need to do the render. Do buttons. Do buttons. Do buttons for kind. Okay, so we have the context in there, which is the UI context, and then we have the kind. So that's the unit kind. Did it, like so. If the kind is equal to I would say volume, because there's a lot of them, then we're going to just customize the row layout, and I'm just going to do that, otherwise it doesn't matter. Yeah, so we do that. That's just going to be the context and kind. Then we have this little mess here, and then other kind. And in fact, we can add that string in there as well, can't we? So we don't need to just do each of them. Index doesn't give me the index, so I need to write that index in there. So index is an int. Index, same again. In here we don't even need a flip-flop. It's so we can do volume if that else mass, because that's all they need to do for the flip-flop. Yeah, that looks... Oh, it says mass. That's weird, because I do it twice, don't I? I don't need to. Just need to do it once. So, the mass and the volume, they're not very wide. But that's probably because... what's that because? This should be 100. Let's see if there's one without any density in it. That's the problem. Like, yeah, it doesn't really make any sense to change units in other cases. Let's see what that happens if I do that. They get wider, which is not exactly what I was expecting. Sorry, I've probably cocked up the layout here, but they've gone half and half. So if I go 75, 75, might work fine. But this is a complete hack, obviously. Yeah, that's kind of working. Yeah, that works. Yeah. That's now a lot easier to read. Because then we just have to take the volume units with the... so I'm going to put like a gap in here. And is there a dummy... it's just going to be layout next, isn't it? Yeah, that's probably going to do UI layout next. Which is the dummy layout, effectively. So they've got a nice little gap between the two of them now. Like so. That is actually wonderful. Literally wonderful. Yeah, there's so many other things to do by preference. So I'm just going to do improve... let's just do this. Improve selection style a bit. Technical terms there. Okay. So, I'm going to call this a night. Thank you so much for watching. This has been a pleasure so far, and I've been enjoying this jam so far. After 2 days, I've gotten actually a little prototype already, which is basic, but proof of concept that this can work. This is actually a proper proof of concept of this, that this idea that you can have a unit conversions within here, and it's just a database problem at the end of the day. That is great. I need to do some new tooling after this, obviously, for the next streams. The next videos that I'm going to have to do in these streams are a way of adding new recipes and adding new ingredients. So when I add an ingredient, I have to make sure specify all the different stuff. So ingredients might be easier to add first, then probably add new recipes when we do this. We also want to, once we've got all that tooling done, so we've got the ingredients and recipes done, we then want to tackle, and that's if we have time, by the way, the reverse cookbook search. So first off, find all the recipes by, if you have these ingredients, show the recipes, and then it gets a little bit more and more complicated, because that feature is the complicated bit, because it's like, look, show me the recipes that that include flour, compared to the show me recipes that are, if I have these ingredients, show me what I have. And then you could extend that step even further. Show me the recipes that I could have if I added another ingredient. Like, that is a really difficult one to do. Like, oh, I'm missing one ingredient. Which ingredient am I missing? Eventually, you could also probably do some alternatives, like not just alternative names, but substitutes. Like, for instance, oh, I haven't got any baking powder. What am I going to do? Well, I've got bicarbonate sodium and cream of tartar. Perfect! That's all I need. And I can just substitute them too. But usually you learn that from cooking. You don't have to have inbuilt knowledge too much. But yeah. So this is where it's going to be. The ingredients editor, you want to make fuzzy search. Yeah, you need to loads. Yeah, because flour and flour, that's fine. Yeah, you need loads of fuzzy search things going on there. There's loads of things we need to do, obviously. But this has been a really fun thing. So I'm going to call that a night. And good night, everybody. And stay tuned, please. Make sure to like, subscribe, and ring that bell icon, unfortunately, because you have to do that nowadays. I won't tell you how to do other things, by the way, because that's not usually useful for me or YouTube, but there are other ways around it. So make sure to like and subscribe and hit that bell button. Stay tuned for day three of this jam, because it's going to be really, really fun where this is going, and especially seeing where people are going from this. So stay tuned, and good night, everybody.